My name is Carmen Yannotta. I was born in 1924 in Summit, New Jersey. All right. I was born in a cold water flat. Cold water flat is if you're not familiar with it, it's a three-room cold water, no heat, no electricity. At 5 years old, okay, I do remember that like yesterday. At 5 years old, not before, but 5 years old, my mother had a little red bucket. We all had to do some work of some kind, but I was too young to work. My mother gave me a bucket. We lived next to the railroad track, okay? And then we had steam engine. It wasn't electric, just steam engine. It was coal-driven steam engine. Whenever a train went by, my mother would give me the bucket and say in Italian, "Cata Baruccia," which is Italian, Carmine, to go up to the railroad tracks and pick coal. So I was 5 years old, little bucket, not very large because I was so young. I made 2 or 3 trips of coal, okay? Every time my mother just embraced me and just hugged me for going to get the coal. That's how it was growing up in a cold water flat. I was the youngest at the time, 6 children. I was a star high school baseball player in Summit, New Jersey. In the junior year, I was an honorary mention. But my senior year, I made all-state baseball, right? And being from a very, very poor section of town was very, very popular at the time, right? And I got recognized because of I'm a pretty good hitter and a pretty good fielder, right? So they recognized, the New York Yankees scout came and asked me if I would try out in Norfolk, Virginia, with the farm team of the New York Yankees in Norfolk, right? Obviously, that was in 1943, right? In May of 1943. We graduated in June of 1943. My number came up in the draft, and obviously I could not attend in Norfolk, right? And I went into the Army instead, right? And that was my first experience in the Army, going into Fort Dix, New Jersey. I had two pretty serious infantries, right? The first one was in Vallevoie, France. Vallevoie, France was a little town. We were waiting in Vallevoie, France because Metz was a fort that World War II, the French built a fort. And it had the guns facing toward Germany, World War I, right? And from what I understand, they built them with oval shape because when the bombs hit, unless it was a direct hit, they didn't go off. They would go off to the side. So Metz was a very, very tough match for tanks, right? Vallevoie, France was a town waiting. General Pat ordered the Air Force to come in and bomb Metz. We were back in the schoolhouse waiting for that to happen. Our battalion took over the whole schools, okay? We were all sitting around in a room. I was with Company C. I was a corporal, all right? Little town, after we left Vallevoie, a little town we had waiting to go. The sergeant said that 5 or 6 miles up ahead, his infantry's in trouble and they need combat engineers, all right? In the meantime, we're in this little village and the bombs were coming over this town and in this field, huge, huge field. For miles and miles, all you can see is just an open field, all right? And the bombs were coming in. After a while, we settled. The sergeant said, we'll spread out as far as we can, okay? When the bombs come in, we have to hightail it to the very end. We'll all meet at the end, and I'll tell you what to do. We'll meet the entry at the very end. The bomb stopped. We ran a full field pack to maybe 25% or maybe 50% of the field. The bombs start coming in again. Open field. So I remember running to the left here, okay, a little crevice in the dirt, okay? And I jumped in there and I hit my shoulder. I passed out. I went unconscious in there, did not know a thing, all right? And I'm not sure. Later on, I woke up and there's a white man holding me in his arms, okay? And over my steel helmet, he's perched on my steel helmet. Come to find out he's a French priest working underground. He saw me and he heard me moaning, all right? And I was pretty well covered with dirt there. He heard me moaning and he said, in his arms, he pushed me in his arms. I looked up, I saw a white face. I knew I was pretty good hands of white. It wasn't German because he wouldn't hold me. And he's in my steel helmet and he's praying. Now, the first thing they do is they look for the dog tags. He saw dog tags, and in the dog tags I had a religious medal. My sister-in-law, Clara Freeman, my sister, my oldest brother's wife, gave me this medal. He says, Carmen, it's a special medal blessed by the Pope. So he gave me the medal, and the priest saw the medal. I was being a Catholic. That's how you knew I was a Catholic, and prayed for me, right? And I was there. I had no idea. All this, by the way, I found out after, because I was unconscious at the time, right? He finally got me going there, and they told me, and he drove me to camp, which is 11 miles away. Okay, together we got to camp, and the sergeant saw me after. He says, Corporal, where the hell have you been? Okay, well, I didn't want to tell him where I've been, all right? But the priest then explained what happened, how he found me, and 2 days later I found it in my pocket. There's rosary beads, 2 sets of rosary beads and some medal. I have them to this day. I want to give it to my grandson. My daughter, Kim Ross, she has a medal for me. I have such a special time in my life, I think. They say what must have saved me, the French priest seen me in the field, okay, unconscious there, and we ended up, and I found out then my buddies never made it. The sergeant says we lost most of our company. We were sitting there waiting for the colonel to tell us what to do because we were limited as far as personnel, waiting for replacements to come in. We were sitting there waiting. So that was a kind of drastic part of my life. It kind of sticks me with forever. We were in kind of a dirt road. The Germans were pretty well on the run. We hadn't seen the Germans in a couple of days, near the end of the war somewhat. And we were all lined up in the dirt road, and our colonel said, General Patton has one more mission to accomplish. Prior to that, we were told we were going to the Pacific. But he said, General Patton has one more mission to accomplish. We were dirt road, and I looked back to my right, and I see a whole convoy of trucks behind him. A truck pulled up to where we were at, up in the front, okay, and out of the truck came interpreters. They spoke German and they spoke Jewish, okay. That's what we found out. 5 or 6 miles ahead is a concentration camp of Jews, right? And the colonel gave us instructions how to liberate. I was to the left flank, go to the right flank. There was a schoolhouse, 2-story schoolhouse. We had to be careful. The general thought there might be some snipers there, so we had to be very, very careful. Some young Germans want to stay behind and look for the Americans, right? As we turned around, we looked, we crawled, we got to within, I could see the houses, okay, and also one of our soldiers waved. Everything's all nice and clear. Out of the house comes older women and older men, come out of the 2-story house, right? I have pictures there, okay. My first encounter of my first Jewish man I saw, okay. He had very few clothes on, parts exposed, okay. I go toward him, my interpreter says, Corporal, you can't go near him, okay. I want to talk to him because you have no idea, you gotta be careful of the germs or whatever, how they were. So I got so close to him, but I saw what it was like and tried to talk to him, and I started crying. Because to my right, I saw the gas chamber, where they're in the gas chamber. They're all lined up, waiting with the gas chamber. They had no idea that the Germans were gone. Okay, that's why the interpreters right immediately got to them, told them who we were, saved them a lot of lives right there. At the other end of the gas chamber was hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies, right? And it was just the one woman I saw, she had no top on, okay? And I cried and cried and cried. I've seen so much of dead Americans and Germans, okay, never felt so bad. But when I saw how they went through and how they looked at you, they hated you, okay, not knowing we're Americans, all right, okay. I just cried and cried and cried. It affected me so much. And to this day, it still affects me. It's something, how they suffered. was disaffected. The general pattern was so pleased how the interpreters, how they accomplished it, stopping, because to the right up there they had a fence and were more waiting to come back into the gas chamber. And also started singing, I guess, Hebrew songs and Jewish songs, they start singing. The ones were well can sing. And told them we have food, clothing, stuff like that. The ones who were able to listen, okay, appreciate that. Others were just like zombies and they're looking up at the sky, you know. That's the part that got the most. And we didn't stay very long, because we were there just to guard. The special service took over, and that's when we left then. But to this day, it really bothers me to see what the poor Jews went through. I was very, very depressed when I come home, and I started drinking. Okay, just started drinking so bad. It just bothered me so much how I felt I couldn't make it, all right? So I met the most beautiful girl in the world. I had three girls I had, all right, after that, all right? And maybe she kind of stopped me from drinking. It's such a great, great part of my life, okay? I stopped drinking at the time, right? And got married, and I'm very, very happy. When I wanted to get a job, I couldn't, okay? And it really kind of bothered me mentally, right? But again, because I met the most beautiful girl in the world, it kind of saved me, I think, a great deal. It could have been a lot worse by drinking. But because of that, I really controlled myself after that as far as drinking. When I wanted to get a job, I couldn't, okay? And it really kind of bothered me mentally, right? But again, because I met the most beautiful girl in the world, it kind of saved me, I think, a great deal. It could have been a lot worse by drinking. But because of that, I really controlled myself after that as far as drinking. And my injuries, back in the war, I was pretty fortunate, okay? As far as being hurt, okay? It's a temporary liability, all right? I was just very well blessed that I had a special God look after me. Obviously, there's a reason why I'm here today. My buddies all next to me, and most of our outfit is gone because of the bombs. They're gone. And here I am today. So there had to be a special place for me to be here.